All right, you smart guys, listen up. Now, in the past, I've told you about different books that I bumped into on the internet that were in PDF form. Now, this book is called Radio Communications Receivers by Cornell Drenti, Dren, Drenia, whatever. But it's a tab book. I couldn't print out the cover of it because my printer is out of ink. But in the past, I've told you about Crystal Radio books, the Penfold books, which he covered transistor radios that were basically tube circuits that were transistorized. You could make your own shortwave radio in that. Now, what this book does is it starts out, it mentions crystal radio sets, it mentions regenerative sets, and then it starts getting a little bit more complicated. What it covers is the circuitry, phase lock loop circuitry, mixers, uh, bandpass filters, and how they're ganged together. In other words, you make a bandpass filter for say 80 meters, and then you want one for 40, and he shows you how to use diodes to switch those two circuits in and out. And all the circuits that he shows you come off of a really high-end military receivers. See, when you buy like a Drake receiver, they also make military receivers. The same with Collins. I believe Collins and Rockwell became the same company at some point. But this book is the book. It's the information that's sort of missing. See, there seemed to be like a jump to microprocessor controlled radios, but there was a period in time that a radio was controlled. When you turn the band switch, it would change voltages to diodes that would switch in and out bandpass filters and crystal filters. And then later on, you get rid of the band switch and you let the micro do it. So this book is unique. It's showing you just how things were done just before they allowed the microprocessor to do all the work at one time. In other words, you change the band on like a switch on the radio or maybe in the software, and then the software changes all the diode switchings. It kicks in the front end RF amp, the right band pass filter, and then the maybe in the IF, it switches, it makes it wider or narrower for like 80 meters or 40 meters. So you can glean a lot from this book. It also shows, which was what I found like, this is the sort of the holy grail for me. It shows the first VFO units that use phase lock loop and actually give you the parts. They gave you they give you the waveforms. They give you the how it works. They go into the Frog 7, which would be a Yaesu radio. How that phase lock loop. Now I don't remember if it's Dr. Wadley or Wardley, whatever the guy's name was. He came up with the phase lock loop radio. Just go read up on it. It's in this book. And the Frog, they called it a Frog 7. It's FRG7 by Yaesu. And it was one of the first radios, communication radios, to use the Dr. Wadley's loop. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but in other words, these are the things I noticed were missing in books. And it was like the Penfold books are very good. And Penfold told you about the coils and the transistors and all that. Well, what happened was you could no longer get the coils, which I switched right over to toroid coils. It didn't stop me at all. And then I used silicon transistors instead of germanium. I hooked up with a guy on the internet. He told me how to cut the gain back on the different sections of the radio. But then when you go to the next level, I was building my own circuits using the NE602 and modeling it after the Collins 51J. And then I finally bought the 51J. That's the one that has the really terrible AM broadcast band on it. But I was able to make, if you follow my projects, I was able to make a digital readout radio. That's actually the goal. See, now what I need to do is to make a phase lock loop VFO. I did the Huff and Puff. See, what I do, I build circuits. I don't always build a full radio. I'll say to myself, let me build an oscillator and make the Huff and Puff control the oscillator and keep it dead on. Now you can take the oscillator after you're done and put it on a radio. And I had the radio available to me as a test bed because of the Penfold unit. I had a 455 IF. Well, anyway, this book here, it shows you a lot of things that you're not going to find anywhere else. That's what I'm showing you. See, I've watched the other people's videos, and then when I see they don't mention these things, I mention them. I try to tell you about something that they don't, and I don't spoon feed you. I want you to do the reading and maybe build a circuit and fail and stay with it until you get it working. The other guy's on there, he's trying to make content so he can make money. I have the 1,000 subscribers, but I don't make any money. I won't sign the paperwork. I don't get enough, people don't watch my videos long enough for them to give me any money anyway. I got the 1,000 people, but there's a catch. They have to also watch your videos long enough, and then they'll give you some money. I don't want to go that route. Whenever I find something that I've never seen before, then I show it to you. That's what these videos are about. Everybody says, you ought to do this, you ought to do that. And I get very upset over that because I keep telling you, my videos are about something I discover. And then I say, you know what? Maybe other people would want to know that. Now, in this case, this book's pretty unique because it shows some really good mixers, diode mixers. If you really like circuitry and you like to tinker, this book is going to be really cool for you. Other people are like, wasn't that good? Didn't show a complete project. No, that's not what it does. If you're looking for a good VFO and you want to try different circuits out, this book's for you. If you want to put a mixer on a radio that you've built, it'll show you what mixers, and it does go into the math. It also mentions which one's quieter. You got to read over the book several times. I even found one section, they show 2 toroid donuts and some magnets, and I had tried doing something similar to that, but that also solves that problem for me. I can now see the theory I had in my head, someone's actually got it to work, and that's why I'm like, oh, all right, all right. That's why it was one of my ideas. And you wonder, did anybody do this? Did anybody do that? And this is one of those books that it explains to you just before microprocessors came out to control everything. They do it the hard way. They do it with switches on the front. You put your switch and it does a flip-flop and it turns things on and off. And then later on, they just use microprocessors. But the problem is, once they went to microprocessors, it seemed there was a big chunk of something that was missing. And this book's got it. And he doesn't show junky receivers. Wait till you see the receivers he shows in these things. They're military, commercial grade receivers, and he shows you the circuitry. I think that's it. All right, that's it.